Stars drifted across the black screen of the command deck, calm and quiet like silent witnesses. Captain Mara Voss stood at the front window of the Odyssey 7, Earth's first long-range deep space exploration ship. Her arms were crossed behind her back, her eyes locked on the edge of known space. Just beyond that invisible line lay the territory of the Galactic Empire, a force ancient, powerful, and until now untouched by humans. She didn't flinch when the warning came. The message hit every frequency at once, loud, cold, and final. Earthborn, turn back. You are not recognized by the Empire. You are not welcome. The crew fell silent. Pilots froze at their stations. Engineers paused with tools in hand. The voice had no emotion, but there was power behind it, like thunder. That hadn't yet struck. Voss didn't move. After a full minute, she turned to the crew. Her voice was calm and steady. Plot a course, straight through. There was a beat of hesitation. Lieutenant Rayal, the youngest bridge officer, blinked. Captain, you heard the message. That came directly from Empire High Signal Command. We're not authorized to, they said. Turn back. I heard them. Voss walked to the nav console. And I'm saying, forward. The crew obeyed. The engines fired. The ship rumbled as it crossed into restricted space. The second they passed the threshold, every sensor flared red. No weapons, no ships, just presence. Something out there, watching. Something's tracking us, said Ensign Malik, his eyes glued to the readout. No visible ships, but I can feel it. We all can. The tension spread like smoke. It wasn't fear, not exactly. It was the weight of stepping into someone else's kingdom, one that didn't want them. Hours passed. Nothing happened. No attack, no response. Just silence and that constant invisible pressure. Then came the anomaly. Uncharted object dead ahead, said Malik. Derelict ship, looks human. It's got Earth markings, Captain. But the registry. I don't recognize it. The crew stared as the camera feed lit up. A massive ship, dark and drifting, hung in space like a ghost. Hull damage was heavy. Parts of it looked melted. The side read, USS Pioneer, a ship that, according to Earth records, never existed. Voss stood. Prep a boarding team. They docked with the derelict 2 hours later. A group of 5, including Voss, moved in through the airlock. Their boots echoed in the hollow corridors. No power, no lights, no heat. Life signs, she asked. None. This place is dead. They moved deeper, past shattered terminals and floating debris. One of the walls was blackened by fire. Another was stained red. They found the first body near engineering. A man, his face frozen in terror. His arm clutched something metallic, a strange device with alien writing burned into it. Captain, whispered one of the team. Something on the wall? The flashlight beam swept across scratched letters, carved with something sharp. They never meant to warn us. They meant to stop us. Everyone stared. Voss reached for the alien device. Get this back to the ship. Now. Returned to the Odyssey 7, no one spoke. Back on the bridge, analysts worked to decode the object. It wasn't just alien. It was old. It's older than anything they'd seen. It pulsed with a faint green light responding to their scans. Then suddenly, it activated. The bridge darkened. Pulse surged through every console. The ship shook once. Hard, and then stabilized. What was that, Captain? The device had just sent out a signal. Voss narrowed her eyes. To where? Before anyone could answer, Malik spoke, voice tight. 3 ships just dropped out of warp, Empire-class armed, and they're coming straight for us. Shields up, Voss ordered. Red alert. The alien ships stopped just out of range. They hovered, unmoving. Then, a voice filled the bridge once more. You were warned. Earthborn, this is your final moment. You are not permitted. You will be removed. Voss stepped forward. This is Captain Mara Voss of the Odyssey 7. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. You opened communication. We responded, you attacked. No more warnings. The line went dead. Missiles launched from the enemy ships. Evasive, Voss shouted. The Odyssey dove, turning hard as blasts tore past them. Shields flared. Blue. One of the missiles clipped the port side. A deep rumble shook the whole ship. Voss was already shouting commands. Return! Fire! Hit them hard! Hit them fast! Laser arrays fired back. The Empire ships weren't expecting resistance. One took a direct hit and spun out, disabled. Second fired again but missed. The third ship charged straight toward them. No shields, just raw speed. Brace, someone yelled. At the last second, the Odyssey shifted and launched a direct. Torpedo. The Empire ship exploded into a ball of white flame. Target 3 destroyed, said Malik. 2 down. 1 disabled. The final enemy ship, damaged but alive, turned and fled into warp. Everyone was silent. Voss breathed out slowly. A damage report. Moderate shields are holding. Engine room needs patching, but we're functional. What about the alien tech? She asked. Before the tech team could answer, something strange happened. The device still on the command table began to glow again. A hologram projected from it, showing a tall figure with 4 eyes and golden armor. Not a broadcast, a recording. It spoke in a slow, clear voice. Your kind has broken the silence. The core worlds have been alerted. The purge will begin. Your world will burn. The recording ended. Voss stared at the now dim device, her hands curled into fists. Get that message sent back to Earth. Tell Command what we found. And tell them something else. She turned to the crew. Her voice didn't shake. Tell them we were right to come. Silence filled the bridge again. But it wasn't fear anymore. It was resolve. Out in the dark, far beyond what humans had ever seen, something ancient had awakened. Something that didn't want them there. But it didn't matter anymore. They weren't going back. They were going forward into the storm. The stars above looked colder now. Back aboard the Odyssey 7, the crew worked in silence. Repairs were underway, but no one really cared about the dents and burns. What haunted them was the voice, that final message from the alien hologram. The purge will begin. Your world will burn. It wasn't a threat. It was a sentence. A statement of fact. As if they had flipped a switch they couldn't turn off. Captain Voss stood in the comms room, watching the transmission upload back. To Earth, the relay was slow. Jumps between secure nodes took time, and time suddenly felt very expensive. Message sent, said Comms Officer Tan. Estimated delay, 6 hours. Voss nodded, but her mind wasn't in the room. She was already thinking ahead. This wasn't just a warning to Earth. This was something else. A trap? A test? A line drawn in the sand? She left the room and headed to the holding bay. A makeshift chamber had been built around the alien artifact. It now sat inside a magnetic field, still dead, still cold, but no one trusted it. Dr. Sura, the ship's lead Xenotech scientist, didn't look up when Voss entered. Any change? Voss asked. No, but I've translated more of the writing. Sura handed her a datapad. The screen displayed 3 alien words, translated as best they could. Protocol silence. Level 5 species. Voss stared. Level 5? Sura nodded. The Empire classifies species by tech development and threat level. Level 5 is fast adaptive, unpredictable, and unstable. That's us. Voss absorbed the words. We're not enemies too. Them, she said slowly. We're a virus. Before Sura could respond, a beep echoed through the room. Not from the artifact, from the bridge. Captain Voss to command deck. Priority signal detected. She rushed back, boots echoing. On the metal floor, the moment she entered the bridge, the crew turned to her, eyes wide. Captain, said Malik, we've picked up something strange. It's a distress beacon. Human, but not ours. Voss frowned. Another Earth ship. Tag isn't recognized, but it's human-coded. Someone's calling for help. Encrypted Earth style. And the signal's old decades. Location? 2 systems over? Within Empire space, Voss didn't hesitate. Plot a jump. Let's find out who's calling. The crew jumped to action. Moments later, the ship surged into faster-than-light travel. Blue streaks of light filled the view screen, the stars bending around them. The jump lasted minutes. Returned in front of them, a dark red star, a small asteroid belt, and a station. No one spoke for a moment. The station looked like it hadn't moved in years. Pieces of it were floating nearby as if torn off. The metal structure was human, design but older, decades out of date, a relic, abandoned. But the beacon was still active. Signals coming from that station, Malik said. Weak, but steady. Any other ships? Voss asked. No, just debris.
Appa shuttle.
10 minutes later, Voss led a small team across to the derelict station.
Aptis.
Lights flickered. Inside, dust floated through the air. Everything smelled of rust and stale air. Didn't feel abandoned, it felt forgotten. Inside the control room, they found the beacon. Still running. It's battery-powered. And a single body. Voss knelt next to it. The man had been dead for years, but still wore an old Earth uniform. His hands were wrapped around a small, personal recording device. She took it and activated the playback. A tired voice filled the room. If anyone finds this, hope we're not too late. My name is Commander Elias Gray. This station was part of Project Sandglass. We weren't supposed to be here. We weren't supposed to survive what we saw. The Empire lied. The recording glitched, then resumed. They monitor space like a prison guard watches his cells. They don't protect the galaxy, they control it. Any race that grows too fast gets erased. We found proof, real proof. Records, kill orders, entire species wiped clean before they reached the stars. More static. I was ordered to shut this station down, to bury everything. But I couldn't. If you're hearing this, the cycle is still going. They haven't stopped. And Earth's next. The recording ended. Voss stood in silence. The room was cold. Later, back aboard the Odyssey 7, the crew gathered in the war room. The message played again, this time for everyone. No one spoke. No one blinked. When it ended, Voss looked at her crew. We were told we were alone, she said. That this mission was the first of its kind. But someone else got here first. They were silenced. She pointed to the dead station on the view screen. That's what the Empire does. Not with armies, with silence, with fear. Rael swallowed hard. So what do we do? Captain Voss didn't hesitate. We finish what they started. We find more of these records. Expose the lie. And we show the Empire one thing they never expected. She leaned forward. Humans don't scare easy. Just then, an alert rang out. Captain, Malik said, voice tense. New contact. Small Empire vessel, heading our way. Fast. Another attack? No. It's broadcasting a distress code. Voss's eyes narrowed. Put it on screen. A battered alien shuttle came into view, smoking and limping through space. It broadcast a weak message on loop, in broken English. Request. Safe harbor. Defected. From Empire. Trade information. The crew stared in shock. An alien, an Empire officer, asking humans for protection. And with that, they all understood this war wasn't just coming. It had already started. The alien shuttle drifted closer to the Odyssey 7, smoke trailing behind it like a scar across space. Its engines were failing. The hull was scorched and cracked. At any moment, it looked like it might fall apart completely. Still no weapons. Detected, Malik confirmed. The distress signal is genuine. They're barely holding together. Captain Voss stood at the center of the bridge, arms crossed. Her jaw was tight. No one on the ship had ever seen a live member of the Galactic Empire before, at least. Not one asking for help. Open a channel, she ordered. The screen blinked and cleared. Static danced across it. Then, slowly, an alien face appeared. He had dark, scale-like skin with a faint purple shimmer. 4 eyes. A metal collar around his throat, glowing faintly. Blood trickled from a gash on his forehead. But he spoke clearly. voice steady despite his wounds. I am Commander Kale of the Empire's 7th Observation Wing. I request sanctuary. The bridge went quiet. Voss tilted her head. You want sanctuary from us? I have defected. I carry classified data, tactical maps, historical records, eternal orders, all relating to Earth. She said nothing, letting the silence grow thick. Kale continued. I was told to observe your species, then to report when you became unstable. That moment was this week. The order for your destruction has already been signed. The purge is moving. Voss stared at the screen. Why defect? Why now? Kale didn't hesitate. Because you're different. He looked down, then back at the camera. You resist. Every species before you, folded or they were crushed. You fought back. Even now I sense you're planning something bigger. You don't understand how rare that is. Voss nodded slowly. Dock him carefully. Full lockdown. Medical and security meet me at the bay. The crew got to work. The alien shuttle was pulled in gently. Locking clamps held it steady. Security teams stood by with pulse rifles, but no, one fired. Kale stepped off the ship, slow and weak, one arm held against his side. 2 guards flanked him immediately. He didn't resist. In the medical bay, Dr. Sura worked quickly. She examined him. Kale remained quiet until Voss stepped into the room. He turned his gaze to her. You don't trust me? That's good. Shouldn't? Voss raised an eyebrow. Then why are you here? Kale reached into his suit and pulled out a data crystal, small, silver, glowing faintly. This contains everything the Empire has on Earth. Your development history, genetic files, military projections, and most importantly, he placed it gently on the table. The list of all Earth colonies marked for elimination. The room chilled. Sura leaned closer. You're saying Earth isn't the only target? No. Kale looked at her. You're just the next one. The data was uploaded to the ship's core system and verified. Everything he claimed was true. Files dated over 40 years back. Surveillance on Earth's tech growth. Predictions. About humanity's rise? And a chilling label stamped across every file. Category 5, uncontainable. Rael read aloud from one report. Humanity is to be monitored until it shows signs of interstellar independence, at which point protocol silence will be applied. Total containment or erasure. Voss took a deep breath. They've been watching us since before we even built the warp drive. Kale nodded. You were never meant to leave your system. You advanced too fast. That scares them. Then why help us? The alien's voice softened. Because I watched. For years. I saw your people fight for each other, build, struggle, refuse to break. You were the first species I ever saw that refused to accept the galaxy the way it was. He paused, I believe, in what you could be. The crew digested his words in silence. Then Malik spoke from the bridge intercom. Captain, incoming message from Earth. Priority 1. Voss left the medbay, Kale's eyes following her as she walked out. Back on the bridge, the Earth emblem spun slowly on the screen. Then a face appeared, Admiral Juno, head of Earth Command. Her expression was grim. Voss, we received your reports. We've analyzed the data from the station and the files from your guest. She leaned in. You need to know the Empire just deployed a fleet from Sector 12. 17 warships, all headed toward your location. ETA. 3 days. Gasps rippled through the bridge crew. 17, Rael whispered. We're not ready for that. Admiral Juno continued. We're preparing defenses back home, but they'll reach you first. Orders are to evade, observe, and gather intel. Do not engage unless fired upon. Voss looked up at the display showing the Empire's fleet path. A straight line. No hesitation. They're not coming to talk, she said flatly. No, Juno agreed. They're coming to test how fast we'll die. The message ended. Voss stood in silence. Then she spoke to the crew. We've got 3 days, maybe less. I want full scans of the system. Find cover, build traps, charge weapons. We don't. Run. Not this time, someone asked Captain. Even with Kale's help, we're one ship against 17. Voss turned to them. One ship, one story. That's how every resistance begins. Her voice lowered, like steel under fire. We didn't come here to kneel. We came here to stand. And in the shadows of deep space, as the storm gathered, the crew of the Odyssey 7 prepared for war. The asteroid field looked harmless at first, cold rocks drifting silently in space. No heat signatures, no strange readings. Just debris from a broken moon circling a dead planet. But Captain Voss saw what others didn't, a place to hide, and a way to fight. From the bridge of the Odyssey 7, she watched the scattered rocks spin slowly across the view screen. Her hands rested on the console, steady. Behind her, the crew moved with tense urgency. They had only 2 days left. Any sign of the fleet? She asked. Negative, said Malik. Still 3 jumps away, but they're moving fast. No pauses. No signals. Just straight toward us. They're not looking to talk, Voss muttered. They want to catch us off guard. Dr. Sarah entered the bridge with Kale at her side. He moved slower now, not from injuries, but from the weight of what he had shared. The alien defected from the Empire, yes, but now he knew what it meant. There was no going back. Voss turned. To him you said they'd come fast, that they'd send a fleet. You were right, Kale nodded.
Nice.
They always strike before the target realizes it's already dead. That's how they kept control for so long. Then we show them Earth. Doesn't die easy. He looked at her, silent for a moment. You understand they'll come in formation? Lead ships first. Support cruisers behind. If you want to fight, you'll have to break their line. We won't fight them head-on, she said. We fight smart. She turned to the crew. We've got a field full of rocks, stealth drones, an alien defector, and one of the fastest jump drives in the sector. Let's make it count. Her plan was simple and dangerous. They would scatter heat signals through the asteroid field, create decoy energy spikes, and plant explosive drones. Hidden inside the larger rocks, the Odyssey would stay hidden under the densest cluster, masking its signature. When the Empire fleet arrived, they'd be drawn in by false signals, confused, and, if luck held, take damage before they even found the real target. Make sure the signal lures look real, she said. We want them to think they've caught us mid-repair, vulnerable, cornered. And if they scan through the trick, Malik asked, then we make sure they regret it. The crew worked non-stop. The drones were launched first, quiet little machines drifting into position among the rocks. They armed themselves automatically and waited. Decoy energy cores were activated, giving off pulses that mimicked a damaged ship. One drone even broadcast a fake emergency call in a human voice. Mayday, Odyssey 7. Critical failure. Engines down. Kale watched it all with interest. You know, he said quietly, they'll expect resistance. They've crushed rebellions before. Voss didn't look at him. Maybe, but not from us. He nodded. They underestimate you. That's their first mistake, she said, and it'll be their last. The final piece was set 12 hours before the fleet's arrival. The ship went into full stealth mode. Lights down, engines offline, life support at minimum. They waited in the dark. Then it began. Malik whispered from his console. Jump signatures detected. 17 ships. Dropping out of warp. On the view screen, bright blue flashes appeared, one after another. Huge vessels snapped into real space, lined in sharp, elegant designs. Their hulls shimmered with golden armor. Their weapons were already armed. Kale leaned closer to the screen. That's the Praetorian Spear, lead ship. Of the 17th Fleet, we're in real trouble. The Empire ships spread out, forming a wall across the field. A voice echoed over wideband cold, sharp and proud. Odyssey 7. You have trespassed into restricted territory. By order of the core worlds, you are to be destroyed immediately. Voss didn't respond. The decoy signals blared louder. Faking a weak distress call, one of the Empire cruisers broke formation, heading for the strongest decoy. Its scanners lit up. Locking onto the fake distress signal hidden in a large asteroid, It moved closer. The asteroid exploded. A fireball ripped through its side. The shockwave slammed into a second cruiser nearby. Alarms went off across the fleet. On the Odyssey, Malik grinned. "Two disabled. Stay dark," Voss said. "Let the traps do the work." Another ship scanned the wrong signature and activated a minefield of pulse charges hidden under the rocks. Two more ships pulled back, unsure of what was real anymore. "They're confused," said Rail. "They don't know where we are." Voss finally smiled. "Good." But the Empire adapted quickly. The lead ship began a full sweep, blasting apart every asteroid in its path. It moved with surgical focus, targeting anything that looked off. Their scans were tightening, their weapons. Coming online, Kale turned to Voss. "They'll find you soon. You need to move." "Not yet." She watched the tactical screen. One of the larger support ships was passing near a field of inactive drones. Now, the Odyssey powered up in one instant. Engines flared, weapons charged. From beneath the rocks, the ship launched all remaining drones in a single, synchronized strike. They swarmed the support ship, attaching and detonating in a wave of light. The support ship buckled, then exploded. Before the enemy fleet could react, Voss ordered, "Fire all forward cannons. Target the spearhead." Last flew from the Odyssey. Bright beams punched through the leader's shields. Its golden armor cracked. Then it turned, finally seeing the real threat. The bridge shook under return fire. "Shields holding at 60%, shouted Rael. "Maintain fire. If we break that lead ship, the others lose formation." The enemy flagship charged. Weapons glowed bright red. Before it could fire, Kale stepped forward. "I can help." He reached for the comms console. Voss hesitated. "What are you doing?" "I was their officer. I have command codes. It won't work forever, but it might delay their targeting systems." She nodded. Kale entered a string of alien glyphs. For a moment, the enemy ships paused. Voss didn't waste it. All weapons now. The Odyssey struck hard. Flagship's weapons failed to fire in time. Its engine core flared, then ruptured. The explosion lit up the field. The Empire ships scattered, some retreating. Others floated, damaged and lost. The battlefield went. Silent Voss stood slowly, breathing hard. "Status." Malik looked up. 5 enemy ships destroyed, 4 disabled, the rest retreating into warp. Cheers broke out across the bridge. But Voss didn't celebrate. Not yet. Kale sat down quietly, tired. "This isn't over," he said. "They'll be back. With more, stronger. They never forget failure." "I hope they don't," Voss said. "Why?" "Because next time, we won't just survive." She turned toward the stars. "We'll win." The hangar was quiet, lit only by soft emergency lights. Engineers moved slowly, their faces tired but focused. Sparks flew as hull plating was patched. Panels were replaced, drones rearmed. The Odyssey 7 had survived the first battle barely, but everyone knew the fight wasn't over. Captain Voss stood beside the wreckage of one of their own drones, its scorched casing still humming faintly with static charge. Nearby, Kale, the defected alien commander, leaned against a support beam, arms crossed. "Watching the humans work, they're not celebrating," he said. "They know better," Voss replied. He nodded. "You hurt the Empire?" "Strike won't. Be ignored. This is only the beginning. We know." She didn't flinch. "That's why we need to find out what's really behind all this." Kale tilted his head. "You already know." Protocol silence. "Erase unstable species. Control the balance of the galaxy," she said, shaking her head. "That's what they tell soldiers like you, but someone had to write that order. Someone had to decide Earth was too dangerous to exist."
"I what?"
"To know who." Kale hesitated. Then he said something unexpected. "There's a name." Voss looked at him. "High Executor Thalor, one of the original architects of Protocol Silence. He lives on the core world of Delos. No one questions his orders. Doesn't lead armies. He builds reasons for war. Can we reach him?" Kale frowned. "Not directly, but there's another way." He walked to a nearby console and pulled up a star map. Sector blinked near the galactic center. Dark, unscanned, marked as unstable space. This is the archives. A deep vault station buried inside a collapsed star cluster. Only high executors and ancient empire lines have access. If there are real answers, they're stored there. And you can get us in. I have clearance. Old code's risky, but maybe. Voss stared at the blinking system on the screen. Then that's where we're going. Later on the bridge, she addressed the crew. Everyone, listen up. The Empire knows we're not backing down. And now they know we can hit back. But before we fight again, we need truth. We need proof that Earth's death sentence wasn't random. That someone up there is afraid of us for a reason. She pointed to the map. We're going into the dark. Into the Empire's heart. If we pull this off, we don't just fight their ships, we destroy the lie holding them together. No one objected. They were tired, wounded, but ready. Odyssey -7 jumped to warp, hours later. They dropped out near the edge of the collapsed star cluster. The view outside was terrifying. Gravity-warped rocks twisting in slow spirals. Flashes of dying light trapped in endless orbit. It felt like space had forgotten how to move forward. Malik stared at the screen. This place, it's not natural. It's a graveyard, said Kale. For stars and secrets. He activated a signal beacon. A strange code, long and complex. Moments later, a hidden panel in space shimmered. A station appeared, cloaked by gravitational distortion. Massive, quiet. Ancient dot. The archives. No weapons detected, said Rail. But I'm getting weird energy signatures. Not just Empire tech. Something older. Voss narrowed her eyes. Dock us. Let's find out what's inside. They entered cautiously. The airlock opened to a vast hallway lined with black glass and gold patterns. The walls hummed with ancient energy. The lights flickered, as if the station itself had forgotten it was still alive. Kale led the way, his posture tense. We have little time. Once the access signal is used, it leaves a trace. Someone will come looking. Voss nodded. We move fast. They reached the core archive, a chamber filled with floating data spires. Thousands, maybe millions. Sura linked her datapad, looking for Earth files now, sorting by date, security level. She paused. I found it. Glowing node detached and floated toward them. Voss tapped the interface. A projection appeared in the air, a recording an Empire Council chamber. Massive, quiet in the center.
Oh.
Stood Thalor, old, tall, draped in ceremonial armor. He spoke. Species, 531 blue. Common name, human. Progression speed, abnormal. Psychological profile, irrational, independent, emotionally unstable. He paced slowly. They will not follow. They will not kneel. They are dangerous not because of weapons, but because of ideas. Rebellion follows thought. Earth must be erased. Not for war, but for fear. The fear that others might follow their example. He stared into the recorder. Humanity is the spark. We must smother it before the fire spreads. The recording ended. No one spoke. Then Kale said softly, He feared you. Not for your strength, but your influence. Voss copied the file. We just found the truth. The Empire doesn't destroy threats, it destroys hope. Suddenly alarms. Blared Calais spun. They're here. Empire ships just dropped out of warp. 3 destroyers, 2 dreadnoughts. They followed the trace, and let's make it worth it. Voss snapped. They sprinted back to the ship as they launched from the station. The first shots ripped through the space around them. Shields at 70. Malik shouted, They're trying to pin us against the gravity well. Don't let them, Voss yelled. Root power to engines. Odyssey 7 spun hard, dodging a blast that shattered a nearby asteroid. The ship strained as it pushed against the star cluster's pool. Targeting relay behind us, Rail cried. If it locks, we're done. Voss made a split-second decision. Launch the backup core straight into the relay. The crew obeyed. A backup energy core overloaded launched from the ship and smashed into the relay. It exploded, blinding the enemy sensors in the flash. Odyssey 7 jumped to warp. Silence returned. Aboard the ship, the crew stared at the playback of Thaller's speech. Voss turned to Kale. Now the galaxy sees what we're fighting for. Kale nodded, and it will listen. They didn't just escape. They returned with a weapon more powerful than any cannon. The truth. The jump back to friendly space wasn't smooth. The Odyssey 7 dropped out of warp. Just outside the Yaris dust cloud, a natural field of interference that blocked long-range scans and communications. It was a hidden spot used by smugglers, traders, and rogue captains to vanish when the galaxy became too loud. Now, it was a temporary safe zone for the most dangerous thing in the galaxy, a human ship carrying the truth. Captain Voss stood in the war room, watching the playback again. Executor Thaller's recorded speech. His words echoed across the chamber. Humanity is the spark. We must smother it before the fire spreads. She let the clip finish, then turned to her crew. 3 days ago, the Empire tried to kill us in silence. Now we have something louder. Crew said nothing. Their faces were pale, still recovering from the near-death escape from the archive station. But their eyes were sharp, focused, changed. We send this message, Voss said. Not just to Earth, not just to allies.
We send
It everywhere: neutral systems, fringe colonies, suppressed species. Let them all hear it. Malik spoke up. If we do that, we start a fire. Open rebellion. Galactic war. Yes, Voss said simply. Exactly. Kale stepped forward from the back of the room. The Empire will strike back. Fast. They'll try to discredit the file, destroy the source, deny the truth. They can try, Voss said. Gut. But this time, we send it in too many directions at once. They can't stop them all. Dr. Sura added. I've already split the video in two. Encrypted data bursts. Each one disguised as commercial freight code. Can attach them to civilian comm relays. Once activated, they'll spread across thousands of nodes. Rael looked uneasy. This will make us the most hunted ship in the galaxy. Voss didn't blink. Then we stop hiding. The message was launched an hour later from the Odyssey's databanks. Hundreds of invisible pulses burst into space, silent, invisible to the eye, but traveling at light speed into every major comm grid. The files contained everything. Thaller's speech, maps of protocol silence, the destruction orders for Earth and other races. Even the data from the Ghost Station and the defected Commander Kale's confession. They didn't ask anyone to fight. They just told the truth. And the galaxy reacted within 12 hours. He began hearing the fallout. Civilian broadcasts and fringe systems were suddenly cut off by emergency overrides, pirate radio networks broadcasting Thalor's words. On repeat, a race not for war but for fear. A mining colony on Eric 7 shut down Empire access gates and declared themselves a neutral resistance zone. A rebel fleet on the Outer Rim stopped attacking convoys and started broadcasting demands for the abolition of protocol silence. And the Empire went quiet. To quiet, Kale, standing beside the communications deck, watched the chaos unfold. They didn't expect this much noise so fast. They thought they had years of control left. They were wrong, Voss said. But it wasn't over. 1 day later, a message arrived. No encryption, no disguise. A direct channel, Imperial signature, the sender. High Executor Thalor. The screen flickered, and his face filled the bridge, aged. Proud, unbending. Captain Mara Voss, he said, voice like gravel. You have done what no species has done before. You struck the heart. You spread infection. He paused. I should have you burned from the stars, and yet offer you an audience. Gasps echoed around the bridge. I am no fool, Thaler continued. You want change? You want chaos? Come to Delos. Come to the core. Show me if you truly believe in your cause. Or if you are just another reckless species chasing its own destruction. The message ended. The crew turned to Voss. Rael said, It's a trap. Has to be. Sora frowned. Or he's desperate to regain control. An open call like that? That's not power. That's panic. Kale's face darkened. If we go there, we walk into the lion's mouth. Delos is the most protected world in the galaxy. Voss looked at them all and smiled. Then let's make the lion roar. She tapped the console, zoomed in on the core worlds, set course for Delos. There was silence. Then slowly, her crew began to smile too. They weren't just rebels now. They were a signal, a promise, and they were heading straight into the Empire's throne room, the fire still burning in their wake. The Odyssey 7 approached Delos, cloaked, silent, visible even to itself. They had never seen a planet like this. Delos didn't orbit a star, floated inside a constructed energy bubble, a self-sustaining artificial gravity shell built by a civilization so old, even the Empire called it sacred. The planet glowed dimly beneath layers of defense satellites, weaponized moons, and cloaked war stations. This was the throne of the Galactic Empire, the place where fear was born, where protocol silence had been written, debated, and launched into action. Captain Voss stood on the bridge in full command uniform. Her hair was tied back, her stance steady, locked on the glowing blue mass that was Delos. "No alarms yet," said Malik quietly. "They don't see us. They know we're coming," Voss replied. "They invited us. But they're letting us feel the weight of what we're walking into." Kale stood to her left, silent, even. He once a commander of the Empires. Fleet looked uncertain. There are no trials on Delos, only decisions. If he offered an audience, he either wants to break you in front of his council, or destroy you without leaving a mark. Then let's make sure he hears us first. A message was sent, a simple request for landing. One word: accept. The Empire didn't respond with words. A corridor opened a narrow passage through the shield wall. Voss gave the order. The Odyssey moved forward, straight into the lion's mouth. They landed inside a structure larger than any city on Earth. Marble towers reached into a false sky. Empire guards in gold armor waited in silence, watching with blank eyes. No weapons raised, no welcome offered. Voss stepped down first, followed by Kale, Sura, and Rael. The rest remained on board. A tall, thin man approached. His skin was silver blue, eyes solid white. "You will follow. Executor Thaler is waiting." He led them into a long chamber. Dark. Cold. At the end of the room stood Thal, or he was taller than any of them expected, not from size, but presence. Robes of dark red metal draped over his body. His face was calm, not cruel, not angry, simply resolved. "You came," he said. "Interesting." Voss didn't bow. "We brought the truth. You invited us. Why?" The lore walked slowly around. "Them, because I was curious. I've seen what you did. I've heard your message spread like wildfire. So I ask myself, is this humanity's defiance, or simply its ignorance?" He turned to face her. "You defy what you do not understand." "Understand just fine," Voss said. "You ordered Earth's destruction. You called us unstable." "The threat you are," Thaler said simply. "Do you know how many species we've destroyed? How many rebellions we've crushed before they poisoned the galaxy with the disease? Of freedom?" Kale spoke sharply. "That's not peace. That's fear." The lore turned, eyebrow raised. "Ah, the traitor. Your voice means nothing here." Kale stepped forward anyway. "You're wrong about them. Served your order, Executor. I obeyed every protocol. Yes. But I watched them grow. I saw what made them different. Humanity doesn't conquer. They connect. That's what you fear." Thaler didn't blink. "What I fear, Commander, is the day every planet believes it has the right to rule itself. When that happens, order ends." Voss pulled a small device from her belt. Pressed a button. From her ship, a signal burst outward, short range, untraceable. Triggered only now. The file played in the chamber's ancient speakers. Thaler's voice, its confession. "Humanity is the spark. We must smother it before the fire spreads." The guards tensed. Several took a step back. Thaler's face didn't change, but the air did. For the first time, he looked smaller. "You came here to expose me," he said softly. "To force me into retreat." "No," Voss said. "We came to finish what we started." Kale stepped forward. "We broadcasted this moment. Your chambers, your words. They're being echoed across neutral systems as we speak, Sura added. The planets you silenced, they're speaking again. And I know. The Lord looked up at the high windows of his own council chamber, where no alarm sounded, no ships moved. The silence was different now. It wasn't control. It was fear. He took a slow breath. You've already broken something. But I will. Not beg. The Empire does not kneel. Voss turned to leave. No, but it can fall. Back aboard the Odyssey 7? The engines roared to life. The ship rose from the surface of Delos, leaving the broken silence behind as they ascended. A final message came through wideband. You will never control this galaxy, Captain. Smiled. Good, she replied. We're not here to control it. She stared out at the stars. We're here to set it free. The Odyssey 7 vanished into warp, and the fire kept spreading. The Odyssey 7 emerged from warp into open space. No enemy ships followed. No interceptors tracked them. For the first time in weeks, the stars around them felt still, but it wasn't peace. It was the edge of something new. Inside the ship, the crew stood on the command deck, staring at the stream of incoming messages. Thousands of them. Whole systems declaring neutrality. Outer colonies, severing ties with Empire control. Rebel fleets coordinating, not attacking, but uniting. Captain Voss watched it all unfold. They're not just reacting anymore. Malik said, they're moving together. Kale crossed his arms, nodding slowly. The truth is louder than any fleet now. You've shattered their illusion. The idea that the Empire couldn't be questioned. Sura turned in her chair. But there's no going back. Thaler won't stop. He'll rebuild. Re-strategize. Next time it won't be silence. It'll be fire. It's already burning. Bridges, Rail added. 2 Empire high courts have gone dark. Bet he's purging anyone who hesitates. Voss spoke without turning. Then he's scared. He knows what's coming. She brought up a map, the galactic expanse now covered. In blinking lights, each one a signal. System rising. Every world that joins us makes the Empire weaker. Not just in firepower, in belief. We don't need to destroy every ship, just the story that gave them power. Kale looked at her. And what story do? We give them in return. She turned hope. Asterisk, 3 days later. The Odyssey docked at an independent station on the edge of the Nyros corridor, a neutral zone where no Empire ship could officially enter without breaking a treaty. It was here that leaders of resistance movements, rogue admirals, and exiled scientists gathered in secret to witness something that hadn't existed in centuries, a new human-led council. They called it the Coalition of Free Stars. Captain Voss didn't sit at the head of the table. She didn't give orders. She told her story simply, clearly. Our Earth was targeted not because it was violent, but because it wouldn't kneel. How the Empire feared ideas more than weapons. How truth had become their greatest weapon. Then she stepped back and let others speak. A Kaleri tech guild offered relays across the eastern rim. A Dravari fleet pledged defense of refugee systems. A merchant coalition from the shattered Arvan belt proposed supply chains, and slowly, word by word, a new alliance began. Not ruled, not conquered, agreed. Asterisk, but not everything moved in silence. On Delos, deep within the Empire's core. Executor Thaler stood in the shadows of his once glorious chamber. Screens showed riots, mutinies, defectors, even silence, it seemed, had turned against him. An aide approached. Nervous. Executor, your orders. Thaler stared at the projection of Earth, still alive. Still burning with defiance, he raised a single hand. Build a new fleet, a hidden one, outside protocol, outside law. I want every system that shelters them turned to ash. The aide hesitated, but the people, sir, people are wind. The lore snapped. They howl when they're angry, and they move on. What matters is who survives the storm. He turned, eyes sharp as blades, and we will be the storm. Asterisk, back aboard the Odyssey 7, the crew received the encrypted report. Just hours later, signs of Empire fleet mobilization far beyond their usual zones. Quiet factories humming to life.
Resource.
Haulers rerouted to forbidden coordinates. New weapon was coming. Another war was building. Voss studied the data, then spoke calmly. Then we don't wait for it. We go first. We don't defend the galaxy from fear. We carry the fire straight into the dark. Kale smiled for the first time in days. You've changed everything, he said. No, she replied. We just lit the match. Now it's time to fight for the flame. Asterisk, asterisk, as the stars turned and the galaxy shifted, the Odyssey 7 set course not for safety, but for the next battle, the next lie to break, the next empire to challenge. Because now the galaxy knew what Earth had always been, not the enemy, not the savior, the beginning. And beginnings never stay silent for long.